Juga kita sudah sampai Jogja sebelum tengah malam.
Mantap.
Dadah.
Aku juga seperti yang kau cari.
Kami di sini untuk mewawancarai seorang pengrajin.
Perjalanan membawamu bertemu denganku.
Mantap.
Ku bertemu.
Ya, kamu gadget aku. Juga kita bisa sampai Jogja sebelum tengah malam.
Mantap.
Dadah.
Aku juga seperti yang kau cari.
Kami di sini untuk mewawancarai seorang pengrajin.
Perjalanan membawamu bertemu denganku.
Mantap.
Ku bertemu.
Ya, kamu gadget aku. Juga kita bisa sampai Jogja sebelum tengah malam.
Mantap.
Dadah.
Aku juga seperti yang kau cari.
Kami di sini untuk mewawancarai seorang pengrajin.
Perjalanan membawamu bertemu denganku.
Mantap.
Ku bertemu.
Ya, kamu gadget aku. Juga kita bisa sampai Jogja sebelum tengah malam.
Mantap.
Dadah.
Aku juga seperti yang kau cari.
Aku rajin.
Perjalanan
Kami di sini untuk mewawancarai seorang pengrajin.
Perjalanan membawamu bertemu denganku.
Mantap.
Ku bertemu.
Ya kok kamu gadget kamu ganti ya. Semoga kita bisa sampai Jogja sebelum tengah malam.
Mantap.
Ya.
Konon aku juga seperti yang kau cari.
Kami di sini untuk mewawancarai seorang pengrajin.
Perjalanan membawamu bertemu denganku.
Mantap.
Ku bertemu.
Ya kok kamu gadget kamu ganti ya. Semoga kita bisa sampai Jogja sebelum tengah malam.
Mantap.
Ya.
Konon aku juga seperti yang kau cari.
Kami di sini untuk mewawancarai seorang pengrajin.
Perjalanan membawamu bertemu denganku.
Mantap.
Ku bertemu.
Ya kok kamu gadget kamu ganti ya. Semoga kita bisa sampai Jogja sebelum tengah malam.
Mantap.
Ya.
Konon aku juga seperti yang kau cari.
Kami di sini untuk mewawancarai seorang pengrajin.
Perjalanan membawamu bertemu denganku.
Mantap.
Ku bertemu.
Ya kok kamu gadget kamu ganti ya. Semoga kita bisa sampai Jogja sebelum tengah malam.
Mantap.
Ya.
Konon aku juga seperti yang kau cari.
Kami di sini untuk mewawancarai seorang pengrajin.
Perjalanan membawamu bertemu denganku.
Mantap.
Ku bertemu.
Ya kok kamu kayak gitu, semoga kita bisa sampai Jogja sebelum tengah malam.
Mantap.
Ya.
Konon aku juga seperti yang kau cari.
Kami di sini untuk mewawancarai seorang pengrajin.
Perjalanan membawamu bertemu denganku.
Mantap.
Ku bertemu.
Ya kok kamu kayak gitu, semoga kita bisa sampai Jogja sebelum tengah malam.
Mantap.
Ya.
Konon aku juga seperti yang kau cari.
Kami di sini untuk mewawancarai seorang pengrajin.
Perjalanan membawamu bertemu denganku.
Mantap.
Ku bertemu.
Ya kok kamu kayak gitu, semoga kita bisa sampai Jogja sebelum tengah malam.
Mantap.
Ya.
Konon aku juga seperti yang kau cari.
Kami di sini untuk mewawancarai seorang pengrajin.
Perjalanan membawamu bertemu denganku.
Mantap.
Ku bertemu.
Ya kok kamu kayak gitu, semoga kita bisa sampai Jogja sebelum tengah malam.
Mantap.
Ya.
Konon aku juga seperti yang kau cari.
sini untuk mewawancarai seorang pengrajin.
Perjalanan membawamu bertemu denganku.
Mantap.
Ku bertemu.
Ya kok kamu kayak gitu, semoga kita bisa sampai Jogja sebelum tengah malam.
Mantap.
Ya.
Konon aku juga seperti yang kau cari.
Kami di sini untuk mewawancarai seorang pengrajin.
Perjalanan membawamu bertemu denganku.
Mantap.
Ku bertemu.
Ya kok kamu kayak gitu, semoga kita bisa sampai Jogja sebelum tengah malam.
Mantap.
Ya.
Konon aku juga seperti yang kau cari.
Kami di sini untuk mewawancarai seorang pengrajin.
Perjalanan membawamu bertemu denganku.
Mantap.
Ku bertemu.
Ya kok kamu kayak gitu, semoga kita bisa sampai Jogja sebelum tengah malam.
Mantap.
Ya.
Konon aku juga seperti yang kau cari.
Kami di sini untuk mewawancarai seorang pengrajin.
Perjalanan membawamu bertemu denganku.
Mantap.
Ku bertemu.
Ya kok kamu kayak gitu, semoga kita bisa sampai Jogja sebelum tengah malam.
Mantap.
Ya.
Konon aku juga seperti yang kau cari.
sini untuk mewawancarai seorang pengrajin.
Perjalanan membawamu bertemu denganku.
Mantap.
Ku bertemu.
Ya kok kamu kayak gitu, juga kita bisa sampai Jogja sebelum tengah malam.
Mantap.
Ya.
Konon aku juga seperti yang kau cari.
Kami di sini untuk mewawancarai seorang pengrajin.
Perjalanan membawamu bertemu denganku.
Mantap.
Ku bertemu.
Ya kok kamu kayak gitu, juga kita bisa sampai Jogja sebelum tengah malam.
Mantap.
Ya.
Konon aku juga seperti yang kau cari.
Kami di sini untuk mewawancarai seorang pengrajin.
Perjalanan membawamu bertemu denganku.
Mantap.
Ku bertemu.
Ya kok kamu kayak gitu, juga kita bisa sampai Jogja sebelum tengah malam.
Mantap.
Ya.
Konon aku juga seperti yang kau cari.
Kami di sini untuk mewawancarai seorang pengrajin.
Perjalanan membawamu bertemu denganku.
Mantap.
Ku bertemu.
Ya kok kamu kayak gitu, juga kita bisa sampai Jogja sebelum tengah malam.
Mantap.
Ya.
Konon aku juga seperti yang kau cari.
Kami di sini untuk mewawancarai seorang pengrajin.
Perjalanan membawamu bertemu denganku.
Mantap.
Ku bertemu.
Ya, aku gadget, aku ganti. Juga kita bisa sampai Jogja sebelum tengah malam.
Mantap.
Ya.
Konon aku juga seperti yang kau cari.
Kami di sini untuk mewawancarai seorang pengrajin.
Perjalanan membawamu bertemu denganku.
Mantap.
Ku bertemu.
Ya, aku gadget, aku ganti. Juga kita bisa sampai Jogja sebelum tengah malam.
Mantap.
Ya.
Konon aku juga seperti yang kau cari.
As one of the cool young I know who might be able to share their experience. Once again, thank you, Robbie. Thank you, Mbak Danti. Maybe last for me. There is a saying from Jalaluddin Rumi, yesterday I'm so I must change the world. Today I'm wise, so I need to change myself. This reminds me to not only focus on the big goals, but also to pay attention to how the action starts from ourselves. Therefore, Mencari Kreat will continue to be committed to finding inspiration with our various program. So that's all for me. Thank you, everyone. And thank you, Iren. I return to you.
All right, thank you, Mas Ahmed, for the warm welcome. Today, we embark on a journey to explore digitally creative ways to engage youth in social issues. Our focus will be on the unique context of Indonesia and the Philippines, two vibrant nations with rich cultures and dynamic youth communities. We would like to dive into how youth engage in campaigning social issues creatively. And in accordance to our topic, we have invited two interesting guest speakers which specializes in both contexts respectively. So don't forget to stay with us until the end of the event. There will be a Q&A session and giveaway for 4 participants with the best questions. We will give you an access to the attendance form towards the end of the discussion to claim your e-certificate. So please welcome our guest speakers. Good afternoon, Robbie and Badanti.
Hello, good afternoon, Iren.
Hi,
Hi
good
everyone.
afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon as well.
Yay, how are you? How are you, Robbie and Badanti?
Yeah, I'm doing good today. I hope everyone is also doing good. How about you, Irene?
Yeah,
Good.
it's so great to meet you. And how do you feel able to meet and speak with the participants from both Philippines and Indonesia?
Yeah, as for me, it's quite interesting because I also try to incorporate, of course, and also consider that just the Filipino audience, but also Indonesian audience. So yeah, it's interesting for me and also a good opportunity. So thank you again to the team for inviting me.
All right, great. Glad to hear that. And I hope that we can keep our excitement until the end of our sessions. Okay, so allow me to introduce our first speaker today. Our first speaker today is Fabi Kate Miranda from Philippines, who is widely recognized as an engagement director of Asian Youth Organization. She is also a program officer of an international organization connecting citizens, entrepreneurs, and organizations for social impact. Throughout her career, Robbie has volunteered and collaborated with more than 10 local and international youth-centric organizations such as UNDP Philippines, Pinas Forward Philippines, the Initiatives Philippines, Project Smile, Invent Future Global, and many more. As a catalyst for change, Robbie has consistently championed in youth issues, empowering young voices and fostering dialogue to drive positive transformations into our society. So, without further ado, let's send a warm welcome to Robbie as she joins us today to shed light on youth engagement in social issues in Philippines context. To Robbie, the time is yours.
All right, thank you so much. Allow me to share my screen for a while. All right. I think it's still loading. Okay. Hi everyone. Okay. Is it okay now? Can you see it? Irene?
Yes, you can see it on the main screen.
All right. Thank you again everyone. So terima kasih Irene and the rest of the team. Salamat sore semua. Saya Robbie. Bagaimana kabar kalian? I hope I'm pronouncing it right. So again, I'm Robbie. I'm from the Philippines, and as what Irene mentioned earlier, I'm the engagement director of the ASEAN Youth Organization and also a program officer for an international organization for social impact. So for the past more than 3 years or more than 4 years already, I've been involved with different local and international organizations, and I hope to share with you some of the learnings that I have gathered through those years. All right, so while still loading, okay, yeah, I hope you can see it now, the next page. So who among you here is familiar with at least one of the posters or one of the people that you can see in your screen right now? So yeah, you might know Ariana Grande, you might know Britney Spears, you might know our beauty queen Catriona Gray. So indeed, creative outputs like this transcend different cultures, transcend different background, and also different nationalities as well. So allow me to introduce you to my presentation. It's called Ugnayan. Ugnayan is the Filipino word for engagement. Ugnayan, a deep dive into Filipino youth's engagement in social issues. So I have a quick question for everyone. You may answer through the chat box for Zoom participants. For our YouTube participants, you can also, I think there's a comment section or chat section there, so feel free to share. Quick question, can you guess what percentage of the Philippine population is made up of young people? Yeah, you can guess for now, no need to research. You can guess in percentage if you want. Maybe I'll wait for a few minutes for our Zoom participants. If you have some guesses on how or what is the percentage of Philippine population is made up of the young people. All right, we have around 20, around 65, 54. Oh, close to 40 actually. It's close to 40, so I can reveal the answer now. So actually, around 35% of the Philippine population is comprised of Filipino youth. So youth being defined as by the ASEAN, someone from 15 to 35 years old. So it's actually a lot. It's like more than 1/3 of the Philippine population is made up of young people like us. So let's now dive deeper on the social issues that are also important for Filipino youth. And as what mentioned earlier by Ahmed, let's try to check if there are similarities between the Filipino youth as well as the Indonesian youth. So I have a mini game here. If you're familiar with the Family Feud, it's something like that. So can you name the top social issues that Filipino youth urgently want to be addressed? So we have 9 here. You can share, maybe also in the context of Indonesia, you can share something and check later. Let's see if there are similarities with the top social issues. So actually, this is based on a survey that was conducted back in 2021. It's like 2 or 3 years ago. So yeah, we can definitely use the same data right now. There might be a little changes, but I believe the result is still relevant up until today. So yeah, again, for our YouTube participants, you can share to the chat section there. And for our Zoom participants, okay, I can see something now from Dante, such as environment, politics, mental health. Yes, all very valid. Yeah, presidential election. All right. Economics, yes. I think very similar with Indonesian and also the Philippine context. So I'm reviewing now the top social issues that Filipino youth urgently want to be addressed. So first one is the health crisis, as this was conducted in 2021 when the pandemic was, really still very relevant well, up until today. So health crisis such as COVID-19, corruption, employment issues. There are still a large number of people who are unemployed and underemployed in the Philippines. Inflation or the continuous rise of prices of goods and products and services that we have. The justice system, unfortunately, livelihood and startup businesses, human rights violations, violence and abuse against women and children, and lastly is the climate change. So these are the top social issues, but there are also other issues that are still pretty relevant to the Filipino people, such as what was mentioned earlier, of course, the mental health and the other issues such as poverty, etc. So continuing on the results the Filipino Youth National Survey. So many Filipino youth believe that by being active in social movements and community initiatives, they can do something, not just for their own sake, but also for the sake of their own community and the rest of the Philippines as well. So in fact, true enough, almost one in every four Filipino youth were already members of a social group or organization that is also in line with their own advocacies and with their own beliefs. So aside from that data, many Filipinos are also spend most of their time on social media platforms. It's actually not surprising for me that many Filipinos are using social media platform. I mean, a lot of social media platform in a day. Actually, it's very similar with Indonesia um based on the research that I saw, because Filipino consumers are the most virtually social at 77%, and Indonesia is at 75%. So I guess, yeah, we really share the same culture and also share the same behavior when it comes to being social or using online platforms. So given that data, how can we now leverage and maximize social campaigns through creative ways? How do we engage the youth, given that a lot of them are using online platforms such as social media? So just an additional fun fact, interesting idea. More than half of Gen Z individuals use the internet throughout the day. So Gen Z being those who were born from 1997 onward. Well, this is as defined by the Pew Research Center. So I think probably if not all or most of us are in the Gen Z or Generation Z age bracket. And about 80% of those Gen Z individuals are seeking articles to read or videos to watch, indicating that they are hungry for information. So we can see here that many Filipinos or many young individuals in general are really looking or using the internet or online platforms to get more information, to consume more information. So what are the ways on how we can creatively engage them? First one is through static content. So the posters that you can see here, the comics that you can see, and even the meme that you can see here, came from the previous organization where I worked with. So it's called Pinas Forward. So essentially, we're using the online platforms such as Facebook and how we can engage the youth. And we found out that many of them are interested to talk about social issues when when we shared it through the form of comics. I don't know if a lot of Indonesians as well might be interested or might be very much familiar or into comics in general. Yeah, all right. And then of course the memes. As the first presentation or first part of my presentation earlier, it really transcends different age, culture, nationality. So it's a very good way on how we can make something more relatable for other people or for our fellow young leaders. So yeah, the one that you can see on the lower right side are the presidential balls. So those who ran for the national election last year. So we also produce content for them. So people will be more familiar about their personalities, about their background and other credentials. Aside from that, another creative way on how we can engage the youth is through dynamic content or through videos. So people, especially the younger generation nowadays, have low attention span. So I think with the rise of TikTok and also Instagram Reels, we can already discuss social issues in 3 minutes or less. So people will already get the gist or summary of certain social issue in those like 1 to 3 minutes maybe. So again, these are the some of the contents that were produced by my former organization. It's called Pinas Forward. Pinas Forward also has like a sub project called Iboto. So yeah, we were discussing about different social issues, especially the national election that happened last year here in my home country. Another thing that you might find surprising at first is online performances. So in my previous organization as well, we have this online concerts wherein people I think we're using Zoom as well and also StreamYard, so we can share the creative outputs of many Filipinos. Actually, yeah, many Filipino young leaders and youth as well in general. Because some of them, they also write their own songs about the social issues, about different national topics, and we're very much honored to feature them in our platform. So you might also be interested to do online concerts. You can feature local artists, also do open mic competition. Yeah. Next one is gamification. So if you're familiar with Duolingo, I'm also trying to learn Bahasa right now in Duolingo. So it's like a creative way on how we can engage the youth, because we also have this particular website. It's www.eboto.ph, wherein we post different social issues every day, and then people will have the chance to answer certain polls or quizzes, and then we were tallying the scores, and then at the end of every week or every month we also announce winners, so those who got more answers. So you might also want to try this in your own organization, in your own personal advocacy, in your own group, so you can have quizzes, polls, and you can also, this is optional, the last one, you can also have monetary and non-monetary incentives. So those are like some of the ways that we're able to perform or conduct, um, wherein we try to incorporate social issues in different or innovative ways. So aside from all of those things that I mentioned earlier, such as online performances, gamification, static and dynamic content, what are the additional ways on how we can empower the youth to talk about social issues? So again, I just want to highlight this one. We can create engaging multimedia content, such as, of course, using Canva, using different platforms. Actually, this presentation is made from Canva. It's very easy to use. You just need to be very particular on how you can deliver the content through different platforms, such as, of course, different. It's gonna be a different format for YouTube, for Facebook, for Instagram, Twitter, etc. Next one is to conduct social media competition. So it's also another way on how you can empower the youth to unleash their social media prowess. As I mentioned earlier, a lot of young individuals in general are using social media platforms or the internet or online platforms in general. So this one, I spearheaded this particular social media competition with my teammates from different parts of Southeast Asia as well. And from our participants, we asked them to create a poster or any other online output coming from the training that we conducted. So this is just to check if they learned something, and we're very happy with the results. We're able to have actually around 4 to 5 outputs from everyone who attended the event. So it's about diversity and inclusion. So in your own group, in your own community, you might also want to try the social media competition. You can also have monetary and also non-monetary incentives for them. Of course, the last one is to marry the online platforms with offline support. So particularly in my organization right now, it's called Make Sense Asia. So we have this job fair, but we all know that in order for somebody to be really prepared as they try to gain employment, it's very important to have training and workshop for them. But of course, aside from that, it's also important to have a certain offline platform or offline support for them. So our team also organize different job fairs in different parts of the Philippines, so that they can directly apply the learnings that they gain from the training, from the workshop. So yeah, the other one is because COP28 is happening, I believe it's still happening right now. So I also saw this post from Climate Reality PH. So they're calling for the public to rewrite our future with arts and science. And I think that's also a very important platform or creative way on how we can engage the youth. So yeah, essentially, how do we communicate effectively? Just need to remember three things. You can take a screenshot of this. First one is to know our audience by heart. So, as I mentioned earlier, you can also try to observe with what's happening with your own friends, with your own circle. You can also check some survey and conduct maybe focus group discussion to better understand what's the needs and preferences of our fellow youth, fellow young leaders, young individuals, so that we can create the output that is more appropriate for them. Next is to create the materials and also conduct the event if you will have an event in the future. This is really to check if the things that we're doing is effective for them. And of course, last one is to share and tweak along the way, because what's important really is to share the outputs that we created so that we will know their feedback, we will know how to improve it and to better engage them in the future. So yeah, I hope that all of the tips that I shared with you will be very helpful as you also try to engage your own fellow young leaders in your own country, whether in the Philippines, whether in Indonesia or in other parts of the world. And just wanna share that, of course, raising awareness is just the first step. At the end of the day, we want everyone to be mobilized to do something for our country, for the world in general, as what Ahmed mentioned earlier. The action starts with us. So of course, I hope that aside from us being aware of the issues, we do something about it. And at the end of the day, we also collaborate with other people who share the same advocacy as us. So I'm also very thankful, of course, to the organization for inviting me. And I hope that I planted something new in everyone's mind this afternoon. I hope that you will be able to also apply this. You don't need grand gestures. Sometimes you just need to, maybe share something through your, I don't know, Instagram stories or your post or Facebook post or something like that to raise the awareness of your friends or of your family members and others. So yeah, I hope that at the end of the day, we aim to create a bigger impact for all of us. So yeah, that's it. These are just some of the references where I got the info that I shared earlier, and I do hope to stay connected with every one of you. You can maybe take a screenshot or scan this later. I hope to connect with everyone through social media platforms, of course. All right, that's all for me. Thank you so much. I don't know if I think I got over time, but thank you everyone for listening.
Wow, thank you so much, Romy, for sharing valuable insights on the topic. It's called Uknayan, right? I hope I don't mispronounce it. It's really isn't interesting, isn't it, to hear from Philippines perspective about how youth situations in Philippines, especially about for us Indonesian participants, because I think that both countries have quite a lot similarities. Okay, so if you have any questions for the participants, you may write them down in the chat box and we'll answer and discuss them later on the Q&A session. All right, now, as we continue our exploration into the topic, I'm excited to introduce our next speaker who brings a unique perspective into the table. Joining us now is Hamadanti Firmaningsih, or Danti, the CEO of Oase Media Indonesia. Kadanti has been at the forefront of addressing critical social issues impacting our communities, especially through the lens of youth involvement. During her study in Universitas Gadjah Mada, Kadanti has published dozens of works and publications about social issues, especially youth issues, and received awards and achievements, one of them being the best research presenter in the OIC. So let's give a warm welcome to Kak Danti as she shares her valuable insights and a wealth of experience about youth activism in Indonesia, adding depth and richness into our ongoing conversation. To Kak Danti, the time is yours.
You very much, Iren, and also thank you, Rocky, for your discussion. I also so interest with your PowerPoint, especially on the online performing. I also watched that Ahmed give like a thumb about the online performing because it is not popular in Indonesia, but I think that we can also do this, Ahmed, in Indonesia. So I also want to share my presentation. Anyone? Is my presentation now? Okay, I think it is visible. Iren, can you see my presentation?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, thank you very much. So everyone, as Iren mentioned before, I am Danti, Ramadanti Permaningsi, CEO of Oasa Media Indonesia. So especially Oasa Media Indonesia is creative agency based on Yogyakarta. And beside of being a CEO of Oasa Media Indonesia, I also work as the head of product and strategic communication in DMPP Indonesia. It is an edutech startup also based on Yogyakarta. And I also work as a director of communication and executive director of Pusat Studi Pancasila in Universitas Nahdlatul Ulama or Nahdlatul Ulama University. It is a private university in Indonesia under a Nahdlatul Ulama organization. So beside of my position, my current position, I also have a recognition as a queen of memes. And thank you, Robbie, for also mention about meme in your presentation, because currently I am recognized as a queen of memes because like for 3 years, my professional work, I work as a creative researcher for the NBB Indonesia. And one of my responsibility is to make creative content and involve meme on those contents. So that's why I become a queen of memes, because I think start from 2021, I start to make a lot of memes. I think I have made more than 500 memes over 3 years. So that's why I become a queen of memes. And I also won I also won won a prize from OIC when I am present in Russia, and it is my research about revolutionary education through memes. It also published in OIC social media. So today I want to present you about the social media and youth activism in Indonesia, and maybe it was so specific in Indonesian context. So again, thanks to Robbie for cover the both side of Indonesia and also Philippines, so that I'm not need to confirm it twice. So here I am would like to share my research and experience in social media activism in Indonesia from time to time. And it will divide in 3 different contexts. The first one is in the 2018 context, and then in 2019 context and the current context. And why I choose these 3 parts of context is because I start my research when I was a student in Gadjah Mada University, and I found some interesting context in Indonesia. So maybe, Robbie, we can discuss it in the Q&A session also. So for the first one, I want to share my findings in 2018. It is about the social media and youth political movement. In that time, me and my friends do a research about the shifting of student movement paradigm in the new media era. It is because in 2018, for my Indonesian people who might be also heard this before. So in 2018, President of Indonesia, President Joko Widodo, got a yellow card or kartu kuning in Indonesia from the chief of student organization from Universitas Indonesia. It is he is Zadi Takwa. So Zadi Takwa give President Joko Widodo a yellow card as a warning for Joko Widodo, and that movement went viral and in social media, but it was got a lot of negative comments from social media audiences. So this condition finally led a question like why people do hate speech in social, especially in youth social movement during the youth social activism. And during my research, I found these findings. So we think that the first challenge in social movement and social activism is that different generation of us results different taste and moral compass of social activism. I don't know it is also happen in Philippines or not, but it is the biggest challenge in Indonesian social activism, especially in youth activism. And the second one, social media also generates a freedom of speech, but this the freedom of speech also results on the various types of responses, and the other responses is also the negative response. And also the third one is the biggest challenge for Indonesian student or youth activism is that the older generation frequently said that the younger generation have a bad attitude or wrong way in using social media. Maybe for the older, like using memes and comics, and maybe another creative activities in social media is something like a bad attitude from them. So it is sometimes lead a negative comments from the elder ones. But we also have to um, congratulate us because the youth is continuously looking for more and more creative way to address their concerns. So no worries, because we still have our creativity to address our concern. And then move to the 2019 research of mine and also my friends. It is about social media and youth political expression, as Robbie also mentioned before, and maybe you guys also mentioned it in the comment section that presidential election or general election also drive attention from us. And in 2019, if you guys also ever heard about this, in Indonesia, we have a fictional candidates in presidential election in Indonesia called Nur Hadi Aldo. Please, guys, if you ever heard about this one, you can raise your hand if you ever heard about this Nur Hadi Aldo. Please raise your hand, everyone, if you ever heard about this before. Iren, have you ever heard about Nur Hadi Aldo before, or you are too young for this case?
Yeah, I found it a lot in Twitter, especially about the Nur Hadi Aldo movement.
Okay. I think it is like something, it is so popular in that time in 2019 because Nur Hadi Aldo is totally fictional candidates. I will go to the next slide. So in that time, social political movement is come from a group of youth because they feel annoyed with the 2019 presidential election that frequently using a religion and another sensitive issues as their campaign, and they start to make a project to promote a couple of fiction president and vice president called Nur Hadi Aldo or Dildo to calming the situation. So especially the goals of this movement is to calming the situation that's so chaotic in that time. But the fun fact is that Nur Hadi, the one that using red, is a real human, but the Aldo using the white one was not. So it is only one person here. It is not two, but it is only one person here because Aldo is a fictional human that created from Photoshop apps. So it is totally fictional. And we found that youth movement in Indonesia become more creative with various ways because like who think and who thought about the fictional character to be a fictional candidates, and it is went so viral in that time. I think that people and young people in some generation with me so are familiar with this context. And after this Nur Hadi Aldo and something in the last presidential election, we also have this current context. I want to mention these two case. The first one is Pandawara Group. I think it is also a group that's so popular between us because Pandawara Group is a group of youth that actively campaigning an environmental issue. I think environmental issue is also something happening in Philippines by cleaning the river from a bunch of trash themselves. So I think it is a good inspiration for us because Pandawara Group not only give us motivational quotes or maybe something as a research-based context, but they also do do everything themselves. And this movement led to some policy and also another movement in several areas. So I think that it is so good and we can learn a lot from Pandawara group. And the second one is the viral ones also. It is Aubima. Anyone here know Aubima? He is so popular among youth because he is currently studying in Australia, and I think it is like half of a year ago. He is presented his thought about the reason why Lampung is the is a city in Indonesia, and why Lampung is on a regression. And he shared his thought in PowerPoint on his TikTok, and it went viral. It was so viral in that time, and I think interesting the interesting thing is that the result, because in that time this movement led President Joko Widodo and his ministry to visit Lampung, and it is not only general visit or maybe normal visit, because this is also distributed about like 8,000 billion rupiah to fix the damaged road, and it is because the Aubima effect. And I think it is something that we can do more, and a lot activities we can explore in social media, as Robbie mentioned before, that we can explore in TikTok and maybe in other channels to raise awareness about another context and also another issue. And I think Aubima is one of inspiration for us how to rise and how to voice our concern in social media. But I think Aubima is also face some difficulties because this movement also. So I think beside of our movement in social media, we also have to learn about how to mitigate the negative content, the negative comments from the audiences, because not everyone have a strong mental when it is turned to like a negative comment and also maybe some terror or something else. So I think this is like class for me. Like even though those movements like Pandawara and then the Aubima and then maybe another movement sound good for youth, for us, I think that those are very creative, but it is still we still face similar problem. Start with 2018 till now, because the movement got many head speeds from other generations. So I think that it is also have to lead our concern, that I think our challenge is not only what is the key message or what is the channel, but also how we face the older generation, so that we can mitigate, we can prepare ourselves to deliver and voice our concern in social issues. So what is the conclusion? I think I only want to deliver these two concerns of mine. That the first one is that youth movement in Indonesia always face similar challenges, I think, because I found it also in my first research in 2018. Before the new media and the social media, the youth movement also face the similar challenges, that resistance from the older generation is still exists, and also the hate comments from the netizen, citizen, or everyone in social media. But we have also recognize that youth movements in Indonesia always manage to find more creative ways to voice their concern. So on the first one, yes, we know that we face a big challenge in our youth movement, but we also have hopes that we always find more creative and more creative ways to voice our concern. So I think this memes is represent how we all face the problem in youth movement. It is like, what is your problem, girl? It's not my problem. It is the elder generation problem, because sometimes I found it is not because our movement is bad or our movement is maybe let bad comments or discussion, but sometimes it is totally about the different perception about the youth and the older generation. I think that's all for me. Thank you, everyone, and let's talk. Thank you, Irene.
Thank you, Kaden, for such an insightful presentation. I was actually kind of surprised to know that Aldo is not a fictional human because all this time I thought that maybe they're real humans or comedians. And I think that participants from Indonesia and also Philippines can relate how we use jokes and memes to cope with such stressful social issues. Pretty similar to Philippines, right? We make memes literally out of everything. Okay, so I'm sure that many of you have been inspired by Robbie and Kak Danti's ideas and would like to delve deeper into the discussions. So this is your opportunity to engage directly with our esteemed speakers and gain further insights. So we'll start the Q&A session now. All participants here are allowed to ask questions for each of our guest speakers by raise hand or write down in the chat box with the format full name underscore institution underscore question and for which speakers underscore questions. And for participants with the best questions would be given a door prize, which will be mentioned later on. Okay, so if you have any questions, you may raise your hand now. And I think we already have some questions now. I will read them and the speakers may answer the question. Okay, chat box, we already have a question from Putriani Siska Goretti, and it is for Robbie. The question is, what is the role of youth in developing the ability to adapt in the digital world to be able to overcome economic problems where human resources are really needed, who excels in the field of information technology? Okay, Robbie may answer the question.
All right, thank you for the question, and also Dante, feel free to add more later. Yeah. So regarding the role of the youth in adapting to the digital world, no, to tackle economic challenges, I guess because the youth in general is very much familiar more than the other generation in terms of using technology. I think this is also like our responsibility in a way to be more familiar, to acquire and improve our digital literacy, so we know how we can share these learnings, not just of course for our own peers who share the same age range with us, but also with other members of the community, other family members that we have. And aside from that, of course, aside from enhancing our digital skills, it is also very important that we promote more on the sustainability side. It's more on the sustainability side in terms of digital enhancement and how to ensure that the technological progress that we have now will really support environmental and environmental issues in general, and also social well-being of the people. Because at the end of the day, we have AI tools right now, and we do hope that this progress, these new tools that we have, will be able to complement the talents, the skills that we have. So yeah, I hope I was able to answer the question. Thank you.
Thank you for the answer, Robbie. Yeah, I agree that since we are the people are more digital awake, we have more responsibility, right? And it's important that we promote the social issues for the maybe our family and maybe other generations. Okay, thank you. And we will proceed to our next question. It's from Yoga Ekapra and it's also addressed to Robbie. I will read the question. Today, we have entered the era of highly sophisticated industries, one which is AI. And the question is, suppose I can't design at all and have a capital crisis, but I have a creative idea to build my business. Can I use AI to design my business poster and what should I do? Okay, it's for Robbie, so you may answer the question.
All right. Yeah, thank you again for the question. So, in terms of using AI to design business posters, I believe artificial intelligence should be used to be more efficient in the things that we're trying to do. So, in case you don't have yet the enough knowledge or skills in terms of designing posters, I think you can use it. I mean, for example, in Canva, they're trying to incorporate more AI tools So you can try to type some things and then it will automatically give you the poster that you want. But at the same time, even though we have the advancement of I would also still like to suggest to still try learning it. I mean, for example, Canva. Canva is a very user friendly, beginner friendly, should I say, beginner friendly tool, so that you can also we can also not try not to rely too much on AI. But again, AI is should be used to be more efficient with the things that we're trying to do. But we can also use this to further enhance the skill set that we have. So you can try Canva. You can also try to look for pegs or like templates or inspiration from other platforms like Pinterest, for example. And yeah, other templates that you can also see online. So thank you.
All right, thank you, Robbie, for the answer. It's kind of controversial, right, about AI, and I agree that we have to use AI responsibly especially in this digital world. Okay, for the next question, we have one person who has raised their hands. So for Fifi Litviana, you may ask the question and turn on your microphone.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. And Irene, can you hear my voice?
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
Okay, so first of all, let me introduce myself. I am Fifi, I'm from Indonesia, and I'm also a member of ASEAN Youth Organization, where Robbie become the director of department engagement. So my question is, this might be a little bit off topic, but when it comes to addressing social issues among youth, particularly like in the context of Indonesia, I think one of the most influential ways nowadays is to make a movement through fandom activities. Like for example, the most popular one is like fandom of K-pop groups who held many kinds of campaign and donation addressing various like social issues. So such as environment, mental health, etc. So I just want to know what your point of views both for Rabi and Kak Danti about this kind of social movement, because I think when it comes to like fandom activities, it's such a new and powerful and maybe like worth noticing when we talk about like youth engagement in social issues. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Fifi, for the questions. I think it's for both of our speakers, for Kadanti and Robi. So maybe Kadanti may start the answer, or maybe if Robi wants to answer first.
Okay. I think I just want to add some because I'm sorry, was the question? Wait. Who is asked this question? Okay, Vivi. Okay, thank you, Vivi, for this question. So, Vivi from Indonesia, right?
Yes, I'm from
Okay,
Indonesia.
okay. So I think that we have I do believe that we have some thought about Indonesia movement in fandom movement official especially because I think that fandom movement is also a great movement in Indonesia, and I personally have a great support to the fandom movement. Even though I am not a K-popers, but I have a big support to this fandom because in Indonesia when the fandom movement is moved, it is like a crazy, just like maybe a minute, maybe an hour, we can collect like maybe 1,000 maybe 1,000 million rupiah, and also maybe some kind of support of various social movements. So I think that it is have to have a support also from the other social movement, but the challenges is that sometimes the fandom movement is also got the negative comments from the netizen and also from the other movements. And sometimes our challenge as a youth movement is that we also got the negative comments from our generation also. So I think that my concern is how this fandom movement is can involve in another movement also, because sometimes I can say that sometimes fandom movement is also hate another movement, so it led something a friction about this movement in Indonesia. But I personally support this movement, and I have hope, and also I optimist that in the future fandom movement would be something big and great in the future. And I think that's all. I don't know how it is in Philippines, but in Indonesia fandom movement I think have a great future if we can manage it well. That's all.
Thank you, Kak Denby. Maybe Robbie can give some insights about what happened about fandom culture in Philippines.
Yeah, thank you for that question, Fifi. So thank you also for attending. So regarding the fandom activity, I think also in the Philippines, because for example, I'll use the sample K-pop or yeah, Korean pop culture in general. The fans, I mean, they really have very solid fan base. So, if they support certain, let's say, I would say candidate, for example, in certain election, they really deliver. I mean, all of them because of their solid foundation also with the fandom that they have. So in general as well, there are also cases in the Philippines, for example, during the last election, there were, I believe, K-pop stans or K-pop fans for certain candidates. So they really are, I mean, they really, I mean, perform well, supported well that particular candidate. So for my fellow Filipinos, I think you might know who this particular candidate I'm referring to. So like in general, having the fandom to support certain social issues is a very good idea for me. Aside from that, I will also like to tackle as well the content creators and influencers who also have their own followers and also followers and fans. So I believe that if we have this people who share the same values as us, hopefully they have the same advocacy as us. And I think I see nothing wrong with having that kind of initiative integrating into social movements and different social issues that we have. Thank you.
Thank you, Robbie and Kathy, for the answer. It's interesting how both countries in Philippines and Indonesians have a lot of fandoms, especially maybe K-pop, right? And they were united by a interest, but they are also still care about social issues and even give a lot of donations for disasters or social problems. Okay, thank you. Now we'll proceed to the next question in the chat box. It's from Litroy Kalimlim. It's for Robbie. The question is, connecting with young people can be tricky because of the quick attention spans influenced by short form content. How can we leverage this preference for quick content formats to our advantage to effectively reach them on complex topics like climate change, overpopulation, and inflation, and etc.? Okay, Robbie, you may answer the question.
Right. Thank you again for the question, Troy, and thank you for attending. So anyway, regarding the question, yeah, I guess it's really tricky because many Filipinos or like many young people in general have short attention span. And also in my previous experience, it's really hard for us to create the script that we will use for that 1 to 3 minute video because you want to tackle, let's say, climate change. Climate change is a very huge topic. How do we try to raise the awareness of people about this particular issue? So what we did before is to have it like segmented. So for example, we're trying to talk about climate change. First, let's start. Maybe we can have the context first of the Philippines or Indonesia, the history about what how we were affected by different typhoons, by different disasters, and how we can connect it later on to climate change. The other thing is, of course, having that segment and then taking into consideration the preferences as well of the people that we're trying to have this conversation. So sometimes we use English, but most of the time we use Taglish or Tagalog English, like a mix of that. Sometimes we also use the local language so we can easily get the attention of the people. And also very important thing that I learned through the work that we did before is the first 10 to 15 seconds, you really need to get the attention of the people. You need to, I mean, if you're familiar with doom scrolling, you know, I mean, I personally is also a victim of doom scrolling. So if we don't get their attention in the first 10 to 15 seconds, they will just immediately scroll up or scroll down the video that we're trying to share with them. So yeah, I guess yeah, having that segment, taking into consideration the language that we will use. We can also incorporate Gen Z terms. I'm not sure in Indonesia, but in the Philippines we have different like terms developed by the Gen Z. So we can also try to use that if we're trying to target them. And yeah, using the language and yeah, putting I mean highlighting the important parts in the first 10 to 15 seconds. And maybe last one is to establish credibility. As we all know, fake news is still everywhere. We really need to be credible enough to build that influence to our audience so that everything that we will share with them, they will believe it. Especially about social issues. Many issues in the Philippines are really hard to tackle because of varying or polarizing opinions of everyone. So yeah, I hope I was able to to answer that particular question. Thanks again, Troy and Irene.
All right, thank you, Ruby, for the answers and the tips to make use the quick attention spans of the Gen Zs and the young generations. Okay, we will go to the next questions. Is from Puput Dia, and this questions is addressed to Kak Danti. So the question is, I want to start creating creative content using memes related to current political, legal, social, and economic issues, but I'm afraid that what I will create will backfire on me if some parties are offended, considering the laws of the ITE law in Indonesia. It is always used as a tool to silence society. Because honestly, my mentality is not as strong as Albi Max, but I'm too itchy not to speak up. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Puput, for this question. And Iren, I think I also want to add some response due to the yoga and also Troy questions because I also have some concern about this. Yoga before us about the what kind of content that might um, attract audience if yoga has not ability to design in excellent way. Basically, yoga. I also develop my social media. You can search lab content on Instagram. Wait, I read it in the comment. Lab content. So both of Troy and Yoga can search at lab content and Instagram. But I think because Troy is Philippine, so and this content in Indonesia, so I think that Troy cannot understand the context, but I think Troy can see the pattern of my contents in lab content. So in lab content, I use a reel. I use reel for campaign my concern, especially in social media, and I usually use like 8 seconds of content, like 8 seconds or less. So I think that because we are face the same problem that our time span is so short, so that I think 8 seconds is enough. And I try to develop like a very short video, but I put like long caption on it, and I found that it works. It totally works. Like I got more than 10,000 followers in just a month using this technique. And I think this technique is also so simple because we don't need another application. We only need Instagram itself. We can just add the text here and everything like the music, that trend, and then another trend like Taylor Swift in Indonesia. We just like call Mbak Tyler. Mbak is refer to Miss Tyler, blah blah blah. We just like share our experience, but we attach Taylor in our text, like Taylor Swift, I just blah blah blah, and maybe we can share our concern in the caption, and it works for me. Like it is like I got like 1 million views in a content, and some of them also got like a great views. So I think yoga and Troy, when we have a concern and we have problem about we are a bad designer or maybe we don't know how to attract them in a short way, I think this technique you can also apply in your social media. I think you you only need to match with your social context and maybe your national context, or what context that trend in that way in that time. So that's all what additional I can share to Troy and also Yoga. Your concern is also my concern, so I think that I have to address this one. And I will move to the Puput question. I'm sorry, Puput, for distraction. So Puput is also what I addressed in my presentation in Russia when I present about the memes. I also present about the challenge and also the opportunity. So I will share my presentation again, but it is different presentation as I present previously. It is presentation that I present in OIC. So you can see here, like I also write the challenges about the copyright issue, and then the law on information and electronic transaction, or in Indonesia, we familiar with UU ITE, Undang-Undang ITE, and also how to use the right picture or the right memes in the right context. Because in 2016 election in US, one of people in US is Douglas McKay was convicted because he made a meme in 2016 election. So I think it is also our concern how to make a meme that's still safe for us. So it is my short solution for this kind of problem. So the first one is we better to use a cartoon or maybe illustration or maybe an animal picture to anticipate that someone on the picture maybe feel like uncomfortable with this picture. So everyone, you can use like source from WikiHow, or maybe like Upin Ipin cartoon, or maybe Tom and Jerry or another, so that we not attach real people there, so that we can mitigate and anticipate that someone in the picture maybe feel uncomfortable. And the second one, we also have to ensure that the picture is free from copyright, because sometimes we think that the issue is good, and then our jokes in the memes is also good, but sometimes some people also address issue about the copyright. So you can keep the watermark on to credit the creators, or maybe if it is not a watermark, you can write it in the caption, or another space, so that we credit the creator. So I think that we can avoid the copyright issue. And the third one is that you can we all can use an initial name, like maybe you want to say it about Ramadanti, but you afraid that it would be a big fire for you, so you just write like RF or maybe someone else, because sometimes initial name will make us quite safe for from the UU ITE or maybe another concern about law. And it is the last one is also, I think this is a very important for us, that we have to use meme wisely. Like we don't have to like bullying, doxing, and maybe another negative activities such as giving misleading information, hoax, or scam. Because when we try to give it and also manage it wisely, I think that everything is okay and clear. But the last one, I want also give a note for you. If you are not brave enough to do this, so don't, because we don't know what will happen in the future. So when you don't have a brave enough, just don't. It is my wise note for you, because I also face a similar problem when I was studying in undergraduate program in Universitas Gadjah Mada. Maybe Uput also follow me for a long time and know that I am so I think I am quite brave. I am quite brave, so I think that everything is about our also our brave. If you don't feel that you are brave enough, just don't, because it is like sensitive, and also it is sometimes lead us to a dangerous situation. Maybe it is, that's all that I can answer. Thank you.
Thank you,
Madam
Karandesh, for the
Lee.
answer. Yeah, I also face the same problems, and because I'm afraid to speak up, but I hope that we can all also be inspired by Kadanti to be more brave to express our opinions and speak up. but we should also express them wisely. Okay, next we have another question from Naili Saadah, and it is addressed to Kak Dandi again. So the question is, as you mentioned before, there are a challenge of youth movement in form of different perspective between old and young generation. In your perspective, how can we face the challenge? Due to it is possible that our content or movement will reach them in social media and get hate from them. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for, I'm sorry, I forget. Naili. Okay, thank you very much, Naili, for your question. So, I also always say that to my friend that we have to focus on our goals and our objective when we are deliver a campaign or maybe social issue concern in social media, because sometimes our objective and our goals is not to convince the older generation. We only need to convince our generation. So sometimes I also ignore what the older generation said. Like I just ignore them, because sometimes we have to stick to our goals and our objective in social campaign. Like maybe we want to campaign about an environment, and we have a research, and then we did a lot of research and also discussion, and we think that it is a right moment and also right content to address this issue. Just do it. Like just ignore what the elder generation would say about us. Just ignore them. As long as it is generate a good response for from the young generation, for our generation, I think it is enough. So don't be distracted with those negative comments. If you believe that you did something great and good and with a long journey and research, just do it. Like ignore everything about the older generation, because sometimes I also feel like annoyed about the older generation, and I also find that some research also say that the older generation will always blame the younger. Like it is like just a nature. So we don't have to like overthink about it. When you think that it is like you walk in the right way and also address a right issue, and it is also important for our generation, and you got a lot of positive comment for our generation, just do it. Just ignore what older generation said about us, because when we back to our objective and also our goal is to influence our generation, not to cut in attention for the older generation. Like the positive insight for older generation is just it's just like a bonus. It is just like an additional. It is not something that we have to focus and concern about it. So to Naili, just do it if you believe and you think that it is great and good for our generation, and also for your campaign and movements. That's all. Thank you, Iran.
Thank you, Kak Dandi, for the answer. I think we just had someone who raised their hand to ask questions. You may raise your hand again and turn on your microphone to ask the question. Okay, maybe while we wait for the previous person to raise their hand again, we have one more question in the chat box. It's from Nanda, and it is addressed to Kak Dandi. So the question is, I think many young people don't like speaking in public because of previous COVID conditions. I'm curious, what do you think about getting rid of that dislike or maybe of that fear? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Iran. Maybe Robbie also can add your perspective about this, but I just want to say that not everyone and not every single of our thought and also our concern have to deliver in a public speaking way. We can do a lot of creative way to address our concern. As you can see that I quite brave to deliver something in public speaking, but I choose to not do this because I think I'm not confident enough to address my concern in public speaking. I'm more confident to brief it through a creative content like a short video and then maybe a carousel or maybe an article blogs. Because I think when I speak publicly, I have to present myself in front of everyone. I just feel like I just afraid that maybe someone like cut the part of my speech, and I think that it will be address something worse, and I just not ready for the consequences. So I think I I just to I just to choose another creative way to address my concern. As I mentioned before, I use a short reels and also carousel or micro blogs in my social media. So I think not everyone have to address their concern in public speaking way. So I think that this question is not only how to make us confident to speech publicly, but also how to manage our concern and also our thought in social media sphere if we are not brave enough or confident enough to address our thought in public speaking way. I think that's all, Robbie. Maybe you can add your perspective.
Yeah, okay, thank you for that, Dante. I also agree. There are various ways and platforms and how we can share our ideas to other people. But I also personally can relate because I'm actually an introvert. So it's I mean back in the day, I'm really afraid of really speaking in front of a lot of people. But what really helped me is to take practices. So I start first with maybe talking with a small group of people, maybe people from your family or group of friends first. And then once you're comfortable with that, you can also try to start engaging yourself with different initiatives or different opportunities where you can speak in front of the public. So what really helped me is to transition also from, of course, having a Zoom public speaking or virtual public speaking, and then transitioning to like an actual on-site way of speaking to the public. So just in case you're very really really interested in terms of public speaking, those are like some of the tips that really helped me pave the way to do public speaking in general. Thank you, Dante, for that as well.
Okay, thank you, Kadanti and Dewi, for the answer. And due to time limit, we will give an opportunity for questioning to the last question. Cardo has raised their hand, so you may ask the last question now.
Hello, my son is here.
Hello, yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, thank you about the opportunity. My name is Cardo. I want to ask to our speaker. My question is, how can I how can I ask a young millennial generation invite other young generation to social issues such as mental health issues, burnout, toxic productivity, and sustainable development goals, not to mention the apathy of young people towards the presidential election because it does not support young people, such as a lack of job opportunities, high cost of living, job automation, basic needs increase. What is the solution and what skills are needed to be a creative entrepreneur in the creative economy sector, apart from public speaking and personal branding? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Cardo, for the question. I think it's addressed to both our speakers. For Robin or Kadanti, maybe one of you want to start to answer first. Kadanti or maybe Robbie, who wants to start the answer.
Okay, so the question is about the how to ask our generation and also the older generation how we could we could participate in the current situation, and also how to manage and develop our entrepreneurial skills due to our economic situation. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay. So for the first question, I think it is quite sensitive and also debatable question in Indonesia about the young generation, that sometimes the generation, especially the Z generation, is always labeled as like something that not have a concern in presidential election or maybe in another political and social issues. But the fact is that the young generation, the youth is have a great sense of political and also social issues, just because we have different tastes and also different way to participate our concern doesn't mean that we don't have this concern. So basically, this problem is not because we literally don't have any concern or we don't care about our political and also social condition, but we have different way to express our political and also social expression. So I think that if someone say that we don't care about this country, about this political and social situation, I can say that it is maybe totally wrong, because as I mentioned before, like youth generation have like a creative way to express their concern and also their thoughts. But again, the challenge is that sometimes the older generation state and also label us as like just bad attitude, and maybe we have like a wrong concern about this country and about this social issue. So how to manage this? I also mentioned it before. We also need to focus in our agenda, in our target, and in our concern. If me have a concern about the job opportunities and maybe the lack of education in the rural area, so I just need to make sure that my targets, like maybe people in the rural area, in the village, can receive fully I can well understood what I said about the opportunity, about the education. I don't care about what the older generation said about this, or maybe another targets say about this movement. So how to ask people to join our campaign or our concern is to make sure that we choose the right campaign for the right target, because sometimes we find a lot of difficulties because we cannot choose with our target, like with our agenda to address to people. Like we want to address about the mental health, but we address it like we address it to millennial. Like sometimes it is like doesn't work, because millennials sometimes don't care about the mental issue. So if we want to address about mental issues, so we have to research first who is generation and who is people that are really concerned about the mental health issue, etc. And the second one, how to gain entrepreneurial skills due to our economic condition. I think entrepreneurial skills can made from different and various ways. But I believe that the first we have to develop when we want to a great entrepreneurial is we have to learn it a lot. And the first one is from a books, because I also work in the edutech startup in Yogyakarta, and I just found that all of the founders of the edutech in Yogyakarta or maybe in Indonesia have similarity in hobbies. They all hobby in read a book. So I think that the first one we have to read a lot of books, and then the second one we have to research about the current trend. It is like in social media trend, and then the economic trend, or maybe like a global trend about everything. Like we not only have to concern in the economic context, but we have to also concern in the social and then maybe political and other issues, because we know like economic issue is not stand alone. It is also surrounded by another issues, like when the politics is like the policy and the politics is changed, the economic also will change. So I think that what can make us like as a great entrepreneurs, we have to know about the current trend. It is not only about the economic, but also the whole context about this life and also this globally trend. I think that's all. Hopefully it understood. Thank you, Irene.
Thank you, Karanti. Maybe Robbie, do you want to add more insights on the answer?
Yes, sure. Thank you so much. So, regarding the first one, which is about engaging not just the youth, but I mean people in general to talk about social issues. So, I shared earlier in one of in my slide presentation that that's actually the level zero or the first step. People don't really care about the things that are happening to them, but when we make it more relatable to them, maybe we can tell stories, we can feature testimonials of people, let's say about climate change or let's say about disaster response. And then if it's also very relevant with their own community, they can start to have care. So through that awareness, raising first their awareness. And then after that, once they know about certain issues, it will actually they will like they can go into a rabbit hole, with where they can like research more about the topic and also connect with people who also share the same advocacy as them, or who are also fighting with the same issues, same inequality that they're experiencing in their society. So essentially it's making it more relatable to them, what's relevant for them in their own community. And the last one is about honing entrepreneurial skills. So I also agree with what Dante mentioned earlier. It's really you can start learning it from books or from online courses, even through YouTube. Actually, even in TikTok or Instagram Reels. I think sometimes when I scroll, at least in my algorithm, I saw something related to businesses or something like that. And of course, aside from that, if you want to start a business of your own, I want to suggest to find a problem first that you have in your own community, and then find be very much be very much in love with the problem, and then later on find possible solutions on how you can help resolve that particular problem. Can it be like services, through services, or through products? And then of course also very important to connect with the right mentors. There are a lot of business mentors, I believe. Well, in the Philippines we have different institutions that they provide mentorship for free. So I hope there might be one also in Indonesia. You can try to find those mentors who are very much willing to share their learnings for you. So yeah, that's all. Thank you. Thanks for the question again.
Thank you, Robbie, and thank you, Kadanti, for answering all of the questions. And thank you for all the participants for the interesting questions. And that marks the end of the Q&A session. And maybe if you have any more questions, you can connect to Kak Dandy and Robbie's social media and ask them through their social media. And now, as we promised, we will summon 4 persons with the best questions for the speakers to be given the door prize. Also, it's time for you to fill our attendance form to claim the e-certificate. Okay, so now I will announce the 4 lucky participants. Congratulations to Putriani Siska Goretti, Puput Tiah, Litroy Kalimlim, and Vivi Lutfiana. Congratulations that you win the best questions for this talk show. I will reread again the 4 lucky participants. It's Putriani Siska Goretti, Puputia, Lee Choi Kalimlim, and Vivi Lutfiana. For all of the winners, you may claim your prize by sending direct message to @mencari_creative in Instagram and confirm that you are the lucky participants, and we will send your prize later. Congratulations once again for all the winners. And Mencari seekers, now we are heading to the end of the discussions. Let's take a moment to reflect the key takeaways in this discussion. From both Robi and Kadanti, we have learned that both Philippines and Indonesian youth are active in engaging in social issues by using their creativity in social media and internet platforms. Even though the youth movements may face challenges such as resistance from the older generations and maybe hard comments, we will always manage to find creative ways to voice our concerns and create impact in our society. Okay, so before we end our webinar today, we invite all of you to turn on your camera and take a group photos together. Okay, for all participants, you may turn on your camera. Okay, we will wait for you to turn on your camera until 16:38. So we have 1 minute. You have 1 minute, 1 minute to turn on your camera. Okay, I think everyone is ready to take a group photos. So I will give it to Kak Ahmed to take the group pictures.
Okay, I think everyone is open the camera. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Okay, once again, 3, 2, 1. And also, I think we need to take a picture with everyone. Okay, okay. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Iren.
Okay, thank you so much, Kak Ahmed. And that marks the end of our talk show. I would like to thank you for participating in our talk show. And I want to express my sincere gratitude to each one of you. And also a huge thanks also for our guest speakers, Robi and Kadanti, who have delivered insightful discussion for us all. Kindly register to your attendance by entering the provided link into your browser or scanning the QR code to claim the e-certificate. Once again, thank you and see you on the coming event with us and stay tuned with Mencari Kreatif. Goodbye.
Ya,